Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Hope you guys been enjoying the content on the channel as of late. Welcome back to another What Have I Seen Lately series. I'm glad that you guys are enjoying this series. I know it's it's kind of a hodgepodge of like certain movies. That's what makes it interesting though, you know. So so I'm glad that you guys are enjoying it. Gives me an excuse to just review more films. Gives myself room to just talk about more films that I haven't seen. This one definitely being one that I've been curious to see. That film being Biutiful, which was directed, co-written, and produced by Alejandro G. Narito, as well as produced, as well as they're considered associate producers by Alfonso Cuarón and Guillermo del Toro. And also another notable thing about the film. In terms of its crew, the music's done by Gustavo Santalayo, Laila, I think I say his last name. I found it notable because when watching the film and hearing the guitar play, I immediately recognized who it was because me and my brother had just got done playing the Last of Us game, so picking up on the way that Gustavo plays guitar, it reminded me so much of those games in terms of music. So that's how I was able to pick up that was Gustavo. But about the film though, stars Javier Bardem as a kind of a street rat of sorts. He's involved in some very shady business, helping out with illegal immigrants and trying to be kind of a community man, but also in many ways profiting off of them. And he's recently was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and he tries his best to kind of settle things before his time comes. And what you get from the film is a movie really about the lies that we tell ourselves in order to spare us pain. Because the thing about Javier Bardem's character, which I have to say is very well developed, there's many strong showcases of developments here. It's not that the film is relying on a sentence or two. It has a very subtle nature to it, where two pieces are enough to get a point across. There's not a need for words to be spoken, because of the fact that the craftsmanship is so trusting in the viewer, and for another that the performance at the center of it is completely multi-dimensional. I mean, Javier Bardem's putting on a really good performance. It's not a showy performance. It's not, it's not an absent performance either. It's a performance that is completely involved and completely committed. There's many subtle ideas as to this character's past. There's ideas that he's might have been an addict at some point, which explains a lot about the wife that he had, the wife that he had. He may or may not have been a homosexual at the past, which might explain other things that have happened in his present. He has a very religious side, so there's an explanation for the visual sensibilities that the film offers, and he's also highly irritable. So there's a movement that the film offers that complements a lot of the characteristics that this person has, and I found that for the most part it was fairly engaging when it was focusing on its central figure. Where it does create distance for me is within its varying perspectives, because one of the things that I've noticed that Alejandro G. Narito likes to do is, firstly, he likes to comment a lot about death, which, I mean, I think that's a little bit concerning. But for another, he loves to expand a lot on his messages, and he likes to utilize different people to represent such message. So it's similar to the vein of like Babel, where the film is not squarely about Brad Pitt or squarely about the other person. It's about a collection of perspectives, and Biutiful kind of in many ways operates on those sensibilities. And with that, I got for me, that I got perspectives that felt wholly unnecessary to what really is acting, personal and more of a study of a character and a study of their circumstance. So I felt that some of the added perspectives were just kind of tacked on. They didn't feel that they were needed. And I also, just for, personally, I just had no sympathy for the mother. I found her to be incredibly despicable. And I'm glad that the film, represents her in the way that they did. And they didn't try to, create some kind of, well, they tried to a certain measure where they're like, oh, look how, how far she's fallen and all that sort of stuff. But it's like, I just have no sympathy for a person, especially at the very end where she admits to Javier, that's like, look, I this is who I am. I love being this way. It's like, she had even admits to being fine with this, to being this sort of person. So, but I do think though it's a little long. That's another issue that I've always had with Naruto, is that I think his films are much too long. So I do think the film lingers a little bit longer than it should. But in terms of the work I've seen of his, is this. I've also seen The Revenant. I've also seen Bardo, which I did not like Bardo. Of those three films, this is my favorite because it has more of a grip and much more of a purpose afloat. Whereas The Revenant and especially Bardo felt more. There was more gravity taking place, where everything was just kind of floating around. Whereas this, there's much more of a grounded nature and a much more firmer hand being taking place. To at least mostly, it's like I said, those perspectives that are packaged in did feel a bit unnecessary. But you have a really good performance at the center of it with Javier Bardem. You have some very good craftsmanship going on. It is too long. I mean, I do think that Inarito needs to cut down on the length of his films. And just, cut out these perspectives. It's not needed, because ultimately what his films are, I mean, they act personal, and this definitely is personal, absolutely is personal. But in order to be personal, it also has to be central, and these other perspectives get in the way. It undermines that central focus. So hopefully, in future work, it becomes more isolated than so widespread as he likes to operate. So, but still, good film, but had the potential to be great if those elements that he usually likes to do, if they weren't present, then I would be speaking much differently about Biutiful. But for what it isn't beautiful, but it's good for what it is. So, that was kind of a cliche to end on, but I was just trying to find a nice way to wrap it up. But yeah, good film, but that's pretty much all I can say about it. So, but you guys want to know your thoughts on Biutiful. If you guys have seen it, let me know in the comment section below. And that's gonna be it for me, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. And until then, basically tomorrow, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.